Okay, and next up on Canada Rocks, we now switch to Ontario from Quebec and Trevor Walker of Frontier Lithium. Trevor, you and I met in 2018 at a Mines and Money conference. I saw you then. I remember you talking about the quality of your deposit then. You were something like a 25 million market cap. Post battery day, Tesla battery day in 2020, it was game on for lithium again. We started working together. We're seeing very enthusiastic market appreciation for exploration stories in Quebec, but you were hitting, some great holes, and your stock wasn't moving for a lot of 2020. But in late 2021 and early 2022, your stock hit, I don't know, well over $3. Okay, I'm looking at your stock price now. It's at 210. You have like a 450 million Canadian market cap, but your resource across 3 deposits just keeps growing and growing relative to some other things we have, and you're at PFS is about to come. So I see still a very significant relative undervaluation for where you are. And Katie LaChapelle is back, covers Frontier for Canaccord. What's your target price, Katie?
$5.25 Canadian.
5.25.
Right now, the share price is a fraction of that. So still a lot of upside here.
Thank you for that intro, Howard. And yeah, nice to see you both, and totally concur and agree that we think we're into a pretty significant discount window for Frontier Lithium right now. And we think this is a really exciting year for the space, and in particular Canada, and of course Ontario has been really, really active. And
awesome. So I think, like Howard alluded to this at the start, the fantastic drill results continue. You just put out an updated mineral resource on Spark that's about 50 million tons across all categories, so it's quite sizable. In terms of next steps, when can we expect the updated pre-feasibility study, and can you provide us with any high-level details on what to expect there?
Over the last 12 months, have been drilling intersections in excess of 300 meters and over 1.5%. To my knowledge, those are the best intersections, best grade thicknesses ever drilled in North America. That deposit remains open in all directions, is really strong at depth, and to the west, we think there's tremendous upside to continue to build tonnage on the resource there. So with that resource update, we saw roughly a 50% increase in measured and indicated, roughly 35% overall increase in tonnage under all categories. So that's really, really significant. Disclosed and provided guidance that we'll have PFS out in the spring of 2023. We're really happy with how things are progressing right now with pre-feasibility. So we shouldn't be too much longer where we can disclose that information. What to expect, really lithium chemical price increase. It won't be to a level that we see really high spot pricing, despite, the pullback recently in the pricing. I think there's a strong consensus from our view with analysts globally on much healthier chemical pricing than what we saw through our PEA in 2021. Phase 1, mine mill to produce some level of concentrate production, followed by a phase 2, scaling of mine and delivery of lithium refining capacity to produce chemicals. We're really excited to be passing through very soon the PFS stage, and then working upon PFS plans of mine and mill into definitive feasibility work.
Awesome. One of the key questions I would say that I always get with respect to Frontier is not asset quality. I think that's incredibly clear that you guys have a world-class asset, but it's with respect to infrastructure. So I know you've made quite a bit of progress in terms of what's going on with the power line and the all-weather road. Can you give us the latest update in terms of those infrastructure developments?
There's been some delays as a result of COVID and some of the supply constraints that everyone's had to deal with over the past year. So our expectation is to see that power line be energized towards the end of 2024. Our timing is really good. We find ourselves now on the heels of such a large, important capital project that has created the right of way. And from an engineering perspective, this project has done the heavy lifting, or being the bulldozer that has come into the far north. The next step beyond power is road. We really need to realize all-season road access to such an important resource for the Great Lakes region here in North America. We're really excited to see that there's 2 shovel-ready projects from others, fully permitted, both a bridge, an important critical bridge across the Barrens River, and about 60% of the way along the power line access to our project fully permitted. So those 2 projects await funding right now. So we're really excited that those are ready to go. As a part of the pre-feasibility we're working on, there's remaining roughly 50 kilometers, only 30 of which don't lie on the existing winter road to the project. So that's not a heavy lift for Frontier. We're getting ready for that, but it's very clear in Ontario that government is speaking and has spoken to the support through the critical mineral strategy to make investments on critical resources to feed the ecosystem that the province is working hard to attract investment to build. We've seen over 17 billion. So key infrastructure projects will be supported by government. So that's really critical for our project.
Awesome. Yeah, and I would agree with you. I think we've seen a lot of initiatives recently being announced in Ontario and Canada. I mean, you mentioned the critical mineral strategy. We saw the Building More Mines Act. In your eyes, like could the government be doing more? Or do you think what's already been announced will move the needle? Or what do you foresee as being sort of additional announcements on a go-forward basis? I know you alluded to the potential for support in terms of infrastructure, but what about potentially permitting and accelerating the ability for some of these projects to get advanced a little bit quicker?
One of the key pillars about the strategy is about connecting the potential mines of the north to the manufacturing in southern Ontario. So our view is government is building the ecosystem. They're following through with the plan objective. We're really excited about 35% of capital expenditures by OEMs has been through grant from Ontario and federal government of the province. So again, back to the discount window for Frontier Lithium. When we look at the traction now and the critical mass around manufacturing for cells and EVs, we really think that this is a key year. And again, one that Minister Fedeli and Minister Prairie alluded to in the markets, government has stepped up. So there's no reason to believe they won't continue to do so up the supply chain with regards to our project.
Yeah, definitely. And I do want to bring it back to the project. You recently put out a news release stating that you think there's runway to 100 million tons as an exploration target of open pittable material. Can you just speak a little bit about some of your exploration plans going forward this year? I think it's something that we've seen, obviously, the market get excited about from some of your peers. So what's the go forward plan at Spark and at especially the Bolt target, which you haven't tested yet?
Yeah, we're roughly at 60 million tons there now. It's clear to us through our conversations with potential future customers, having the highest grade and having 25-year project life is really critical in the short term. What's important is outlining a multi-generational asset. We believe that there's not many assets that are tier 1 resources in a tier 1 jurisdiction, but to add to that third leg of the stool that have scalability to enable to grow with OEMs and their objectives. So much of the boring engineering holes have been conducted. And during that time, to outline a total of 60 million tons in a mining lease area is really impressive. This year is going to be exciting. It's the next steps on, to your point, showing the scalability of Spark as it's open in all directions. We like roughly 1 kilometer away on strike, over 3% showing through grab samples from Spark. So we think that the potential's quite high to continue to scale Spark. We believe that there's very strong potential to achieve the 100 million ton target that we've laid out on the project. So in short order, we'll be stepping onto Bolt to start seeing what that potential really is. So we think that that's going to be really exciting for shareholders and the market. It's an important time. We think as there's struggles in the real economy and the market, we think there'll be continued bifurcation. We are really happy that we're passing the PFS threshold and having the conversations that we are. We've been patient, and so we've really done a great job on controlling dilution for shareholders, timing the critical mass of a resource, giving government time to get their feet beneath them and lay that foundation, again, so that we can unlock non-traditional sources of capital for the benefit of shareholders and our stakeholders. Such a critical time. We think the market's going to shift and start focusing on resources such as ourselves and companies such as ourselves that have the ability before 2030 to deliver beyond the incumbent suppliers. Tier 1 resource in a tier 1 jurisdiction, they're really hard to find. So we're excited. We think that 2023 is going to be a really breakout year. Try and make and start making up that discount that we have to some of our peers with half as much lithium, with half as much grade. We think 2023 is the year of Frontier Lithium.
And maybe just one question to wrap it up. If you're successful in achieving that 100 million ton target, or I think even now you've got critical mass, Frontier is going to have one of the largest resources in Canada. It already does. Can you just speak broadly to strategic interest that you're seeing in the project?
Yeah, it would come of no surprise that we're having, multiple conversations. We have this window of time where just pre-PFS that I'm able to speak with everyone from incumbent lithium suppliers right through to auto OEMs. So really, really interesting conversations. We are, and again, it's very clear to us how critical and how important our project is. This is about an anchor resource in the Great Lakes region of North America. They are hard to find. There's not many. And we think we're timed quite nicely given the construction and production plans that are being laid out, in real time by multinationals in North America. So we can't disclose much more than that, other than the interest is strong and it's very clear. We need to get into production as quickly as possible. Again, we're timed quite nicely with those conversations, and given the dramatic support that industry, those players are seeing as well from governments of Ontario and Canada. So this is about bringing that support up the supply chain now. We've got the critical mass. We're showing scale. We're really excited about the near term for ourselves and for all stakeholders involved with Frontier Lithium.
Trevor, I'm going to just say one more thing in closing. You mentioned your focus on not diluting shareholders. So I've been watching your company very closely. You and your father and your family own what, 20% still of the company?
Yeah, extended family, about 20%.
So you haven't done a ton of large capital raises, or at dilutive, financings. And also your board, you've rounded out your board with some very significant people, including First Nations representation. You've attracted significant, highly credible people are taking notice selectively, but you're still not as broadly known. If I look at the size of the resource and the quality of the resource that you already have, it's the beauty and fun of picking through the RK Equity scoreboard to find, where is there potential undervaluations and relative valuations.
We're the type of company that, we deliver something and then we talk about it. Northern Ontario is gifted with nickel production, copper production. The next step for Northern Ontario is lithium production.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Trevor. To be continued.